Good afternoon, everyone. This is the continuation of my presentation, Planning Early Learning Environment. So first, safety. Safety in classroom and play yards is a major consideration in preventing accident and fostering independence. Independence comes about only in a safe and secure environment. So when we say safety, is the condition of being protected by the students from danger or risk injury in our environment. So as a teacher, children must be able to trust adults to protect them from harm and from harming themselves. Next, order and organization. Cluttered and disorganization are incompatible with safety. The teacher must make sure that everything has a place and when it's not in use, everything is in its place. So, order order and organization. Order states that of being well organized, while the well organization is a way in which something is organized, such as a book or an article. Next is safe outdoor environments. Outdoor play in a safe and carefully arranged play yard is essential for young children. By Rivskin, 1995. It is here that children practice physical skills such as running, jumping, ducking, climbing, and kicking. They learn to throw, catch, and bat, and to combine these skills into games. The outdoors also provide opportunities for children to learn voice and tone modulations, shouting, chanting, whistling, imitating, or singing, all without causing discomfort to others. So, when we say safe outdoor environment, as a teacher, um, outdoor play is essential to be a safe and well organized play yard for young children from high risk or danger in our environment. Next is visibility. Visibility is a major function of early childhood education is encouraging the children to explore and experiment with materials and equipment. The partial enclosure of learning activities so that children can see what is available important. It also helps avoid distractions and allows children to function in small groups rather than feeling like they are always in a large group. So children needs visibility to enjoy, explore, and experiment with materials and equipment. Also, uh, children um, children encouraged to observe and engage in the activities of others when they are comfortable doing so that they can learn more and understand their limitations. Next is matching children and equipment. A critical aspect of safety has to do with matching equipment and materials to the skill levels of children. As mentioned previously, this is true of for outdoor playground equipment and is also true for other materials and equipment within an early childhood program. So, uh, well, toys, for example, pose a safety hazard for younger smaller children. They also are a hazard for children who may not be able to exercise good judgment in selecting suitable equipment. In many instances, poor judgment is simply a lack of experience learning how to categorize items and identify relationships between them. So, matching is an early math skill as well. It enables children to recognize the characteristics of comparable items, which lays the basis for early mathematical teaching. Next is ACE of movement. The classroom with clearly defined play spaces allows and encourages children and teachers to move about freely. Movement is enhanced when traffic lines are unobstructed and adequate for maneuvering trucks and thus courage of wheelchairs and crutches. So, ace of movement in young children can help improve memory, perception, language, attention, and emotion, and even decision making. Also, when language and motion are combined, learning improve calm and awaken children. So, next, promoting independence. An early childhood education environment must be arranged to encourage independence. As mentioned previously, teaching children that there are established places for things and how to put things away after use, fostration, and perseverance in school. It also develops other vital qualities for children such as patience, concentration, self-help, and cooperation, self-discipline, and self-trust. Next is teachers' availability. So the ready availability of teachers is to is the a safe and comfortable early learning environment. Young children are learning something in each of their waking movements. To facilitate appropriate learning, teachers must be where they are most needed through the day. When children can move independently between activities without unnecessary distraction, teachers can teach rather than police. Teachers often can bridge through areas being available to children, both in the locker area and in the judgment discovery learning area. So, teachers' availability is important to creating a secure and comfortable early learning environment. Every waking minute, young children are learning something new in our environment. So, as a teacher, we must be present where they are most needed throughout the day to support appropriate learning. Teacher also educate the children on how to grasp their school activities if they can move autonomously between tasks without unwanted distractions. So next is offering choice. So these are examples on how offering choice can prevent problem as well as provide additional learning opportunities. So first, offering choice work effectively with children who frequently say no when offered only one option. Offering choice provides an opportunity for a child developing language to practice requesting either with words, pointing sign language, or an um, augmentative communication system. Offering choice of color, size, or quantity provides an appropriate opportunity to practice and naming the desired attribute while at the same time providing the teachers with an opportunity to access a child's knowledge. And the fourth is offering choice can prevent a child from having a tantrum because they feel they have some control of the situation. When you offer choices in the classroom as a teacher, keep in mind that it allows for freedom and power, gives students the freedom to choose the path they wish to take, to learn new skills so that students provide an option to select the materials and resources they will use. Next is Novelty versus familiarity. While children thrive in environments that are familiar and consistent, it is important to provide new materials, display, and perspective throughout the year. So, when we say novelty, it is a task in which an infant is shown a new object is simultaneously with a familiar one. So while familiarity, it is a psychological phenomenon in which people acquire a preference for items just because they are familiar with them. So, for example, studies of the simple exposure effect uh, demonstrate that experience with an object leads to increased linking. So, that is familiarity preference. Even though other studies using this habitation show the respect uh, I show the aspect opposite trend, so that is novelty preference. So next, structured flexibility. To meet the range of development levels within a group of young children, the learning environment must process structured flexibility. It must be well structured and at the same time flexible and adaptable. A structured environment where rules and expectations are consistent provide a secure framework that supports children's freedom. They can explore and test limits, and teachers can react spontaneously to the infinite variation in children's learning. Systematic advanced planning and logical revision of arrangement are essential to both program structure and program flexibility. So, structured flexibility is one of the most important qualities that students and teachers can cultivate. Learning easy is learning is easy when the children uh, and teachers can tolerate change, open themselves to new experience. The unexpected in stride. Next, scheduling. In the inclusive classroom, learning opportunities based on appropriate agreements of space, materials, and equipment are heightened by an organized schedule. Systematically structured transitions between program activities also are critical. Teachers need to know where each child is to be and what each child is to be doing at each point in a program. Scheduling decisions are based on the type of program, the number of hours children spend in the setting, their age and ability range, and the ratio of adults to children and major consideration. Full day programs have quite different constraints trains and both schedule and organization than half-day programs. So, scheduling is a team process to develop a school-wide master schedule that includes support for students in inclusive classrooms and other general education settings. Also, scheduling influences a child's emotional, cognitive, and social development. They help children feel secure and comfortable. They help children understand the expectations of the environment, and they help reduce the frequency of the child's behavior problems like tantrums. Next is principles related to scheduling. So these principles apply to creating daily, weekly, seasonally, and annually activity calendars. Um, Individuals' differences among children and their changing skills levels over time are major scheduling factors. So next, accommodating individual differences. In determining Determining the sequence of activities, teacher must be sensitive to children's special needs and preference. Teachers strive to maintain a global outlook of the day as a whole, including sequence of activities, use of indoor and outdoor space, and opportunities to promote children's learning. So, accommodating individual differences is a physical setting in which big group, small group, and one student activities can occur currently as needed. As a teacher, this view is to get to know children better, and as children become more skilled, the length and type of classroom activities. So next, varying activity levels. So periods of high physical activity are planned to alternate with periods of quiet activities. Most children are subject to energy spillover from active play periods. Learning experiences that require children's concentration should not be scheduled immediately following vigorous free play. A brief cooling down period needs to be built into the schedule. So varying activity levels is to alternate with periods of quiet activities. The majority of children experience energy overflow from active play periods. Learning experiences that requires children concentration should not be scheduled right after the vigorous free play. For example, children gather once or two to look like two like children gather once or twice to look at books until most children assemble and the teacher's structured activity begins. So next, ensuring orderly sequence. Activities need to follow an orderly and predictable sequences. Most young children have trouble accepting any departure from what they are used to. Change in routines may be even more difficult for young children and the children with developmental problems. Children with aesthetic type behaviors of attention disorders frequently become obsessively attached to the daily schedule. Commonplace routines become rituals that must be held constant. The unexpected may drive the child into a frenzy. So, ensuring orderly sequence as an essential part of managing the classroom learning environment is to establishing and maintaining order and protective teachers ensures that off-task behavior is redirected before it leads to misbehavior. Uh, in orderly in an orderly classroom, pupils are also focused on educational activities and do not misbehave. So next, giving advance notice. Children do not shift focus easily when engrossed in a activity. They need to be alert to a forthcoming change. Several minutes before a transition, the teacher advises soon it will be time to put away the blocks. So to make it short, giving advance notice to children needs the satisfaction that comes with task completion. Those who move slowly or with difficulty require more time. The activities and transition are involved so that each child may progress at their speed. It's demanding, if not disrespectful. To carry a child who could walk from snack is given enough time. Next, application of scheduling principles. Schedule are based on the type of program a number of teachers and number and the type of children. One early childhood program should never be ruled by another program scheduled. Neither should it be ruled by the clock, by Wian and Kirby Smith, 1998. The critical elements are the sequencing of activities and the allocating of ample time for children learning needs and interests. The actual number of minutes spent in stories of transaction or snack irrelevant. The schedule of activities outlined below and the accompanying clock times are suggestion only. In full-day childcare settings, early morning, late afternoon meal, and nap times all require extra special planning. In the following sample of a daily schedule, the comments in each time slots and program activities suggest the potential learning inherent on each activity. So, application of scheduling principles. As a teacher, planning principles addresses issues of a framework. This first scheduling principles obligates each job plan to estimate labor hours and craft skill levels, while the scheduling principle encourage not interrupting jobs already in progress through proper prioritization of the work. So that's all for my presentation today. Thank you and God bless.